The decisions thrust upon me are too much for any man to handle. How do I make the choices that will impact those around me?
Jan, I already asked you, do you want Taco Bell or do you want Jack in the Box?
Do I sacrifice the future of my intestines by risking that delicious Crunchwrap Supreme? Or do I play it safe despite me not really being in the mood for the second option?
Oh my god, Jan. Alright, forget it. I'm just gonna go order a pizza.
Oh yeah, pizza sounds great. Anyways, here's my review of Oppenheimer.
This is a national emergency.
Detonator charged.
Christopher Nolan has created some of the most impactful films of all time. Movies that will not only stand the test of time, but will consistently be named as favorites even after generations have passed. I can't say that he knocks it out of the park each and every time, but when he does, I can easily see these being as inspirations for future movie creators to aspire to. Oppenheimer is most definitely one of his absolute best, which is funny because while I think there is a ton to love about it, I don't see this as being one of the films of his that will get constant repeat views. And by this I mean casual moviegoers. Films like Inception and The Dark Knight are those type of films that general audiences can see again and again and again and just not get bored of. But there are those films of his that people will probably only watch once and be done with. Unless you're a movie aficionado. Oppenheimer is definitely one of those films that those type of people can appreciate, dissect, and just use as an example of how to be a master at your craft. J. Robert Oppenheimer is an American physicist who gets assigned to be the director of the Manhattan Project, which, if you don't know, was a program to create the first atomic bomb in order to end World War II. Something that the Germans were also working towards on their side, and thus created an urgency for the Americans to finish first. The movie focuses primarily on Oppenheimer's life during this time, as well as the events that came after, though we also see stretches of his life throughout the film as well. The movie is very existential. It focuses on the mentality of Oppenheimer before he creates the bomb and how it shifts after he creates the bomb, and questions the purpose of introducing such a dangerous weapon to the world and what it means for humanity. On that front, the movie really is almost two movies. The lead up to creating the bomb, which is almost like action-packed, which I think is very smart of Christopher Nolan, as the subject I think is something most audiences would normally find really boring. The second half, however, does slow things down and delivers more of that somber tone. Again, in a very smart move. It's almost as if Christopher is saying, okay, you all got what you wanted, now it's time to really dig deep and give you what I want. Am I looking too deeply into that? Well, maybe, but it's what crossed my mind while watching the film, so I'm going to mention it. Front and center is Cillian Murphy, who plays Oppenheimer perfectly. I heard Cillian practically begged Christopher to let him have the role, and if that's true, I'm really glad he did, because I cannot imagine anybody else in this spot. I mean, I'm sure others could have played it good, but I do think this is one of those performances where you cannot separate the artist from the character. I think it's that strong. Now, just to be clear, this isn't a role where he's crying, he's yelling, he's acting crazy. It is a more subdued performance, which again, I think would normally bore audiences, but I think it's the type of performance that this movie needed. Supporting cast here is also very strong. Everyone gets their chance to shine, and I love seeing all the cameos in the movie, including Josh Peck, who, getting off topic here, people would constantly mistake me for when I was in high school and college. And I'm not talking about people saying I look like him, I mean people actually stopped me thinking I was him. What does this have to do with the movie? Nothing. I just think it's funny, so always enjoy seeing him, even though I don't think we look like each other anymore. Speaking of the supporting cast, I do have to talk about the one negative thing in the movie. Emily Blunt. Oh, not that she's bad. No, she's great, and even has her moment to shine at the end. It's just that she constantly gets pushed to the side throughout the entire runtime, and it's jarring. It's almost as if the movie is as infatuated with Oppenheimer's mistress as he is. I guess, way to go meta, I suppose. Okay, one more complaint. The sound. The movie has fantastic sound. I'm not denying that. But the sound mixing, that I have a problem with. Christopher has a knack of overpowering the soundtrack to the point that you don't hear the actor sometimes. He's had a bad habit of this in the past and has even stated that he doesn't do ADR to re-record lines. I'm glad he has a style, but I do think this hurts the final product, and because of it, I almost recommend not seeing the film in IMAX since I found the sound mixing to be more tolerable in a regular theater setting, which is kind of sad when you think about it. That being said, the score is so freaking good. I say, if you're gonna drown us out with score and sound, it might as well be good score and sound, which this definitely has. I guess that might be why people are more forgiving of the mixing this time around as well. Alright, enough negativity, because even with all of that said, I cannot deny that this is a beast of a movie. It's fantastic, and even its negative points feel as if I'm being nitpicky with the film. Sure, it's not a perfect experience, but what in the world is? And like I always say, the greatest movies are the ones you can overlook the flaws of and still be fully engaged in what you're watching. And this film is most definitely that. Exploding into our hearts, I give Oppenheimer a 5 out of 5, with a recommendation to buy it. Sure, most people are not going to watch this film over and over again, but you should still have it in your collection. If nothing else, it gives you movie cred. And as Oppenheimer would no doubt agree with, movie cred is everything.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
Truman needs to know what's next.
2,
What's next?
1.
Welcome back, everybody! Did you enjoy my review of Oppenheimer? Wow, I hope you did. Anyways, we're down to the final 3 films, guys. We can see the end right on the horizon, so don't ditch me yet. Come back tomorrow for my next review. And until then, stay safe out there, and have a good one.